We are now going to demonstrate the Clear Priority Operational Intelligence Platform. Not going greatly into technical detail, but showing you a genuine example of a monitoring application. We will start with the Supervisory console, where the user can gain insight into all aspects of the operational intelligence monitoring activity. The application is web-based, and so it is easily accessed from desktop or mobile devices. So I'm starting now with the alerting dashboard of the console, where the user can see the alerts that are made visible after events have been collected from the system and correlated for alerts by the operational intelligence engine. These alerts are showing the actual and historic activity monitored in a private banking order processing system. The user has a complete panoramic view of the whole list of alerts produced by the system. Alerts that vary from high to low importance, allowing the user to focus their attention on what's really important and must be responded to with the highest priority. Of course, alerts can be grouped together so that you get a quick overview of what's really important. That's what we see on the lower part of this screen. Alerts also have an origin value that shows where the alert originates from, like a subsystem, for example. Here it is in the order processing broker. And on the top of the screen, we have another view of the distribution of the alerts by time, and we can see that we have around 5 alerts that still have to be processed at midnight on the 13th of September in 2012. We can also have other views where we change the timescales, e.g. by month, to have an alternative view on the number of alerts that have been detected. In this particular example about the order processing monitoring, we are most interested in orders that haven't been processed as expected. There may be a service level agreement that's been agreed between several parties, such as the end customer, the bank, and the market, which in this case is a third-party broker. For instance, here we have an alert for a blocked order that has been transmitted to a broker, but the broker has not yet acknowledged it. This might mean that the bank is liable to pay a penalty to the customer if the transaction is delayed, such that today's price quotation cannot be respected. Another aspect of the Supervisory console is the ability to manage the alerts that have been produced by the system. For example, I can just click on my Manage Alerts button. For example, I can just go in and note here that I'm starting some manual intervention on a specific subsystem to resolve some issue. We mark the alert as being open so that later on someone in my team can come back and continue fixing this particular problem. When I'm looking at the alert details, I can see a whole load of other information that enables me to better understand that alert. I was typing a subsystem number identifier here, showing where I would need to go to fix that particular problem. That information is gathered from various events that have been correlated together to show that some problem exists in the order processing system. So here I have the alert name and the system date and business time when this problem was seen. Later on, I can come back to my alert management and make a note that I've finished processing my manual intervention and then mark the situation as closed and that my order has now been processed correctly. Of course, for another processing system where you have many orders per hour, it's not really suitable to do it all manually. Therefore, you can configure Clear Priority to automatically close alerts by itself when appropriate. So, for example, where we have an order that was blocked, we can often see that there were following events that Clear Priority detected and that enabled the system to fix the problem without intervention, without manual intervention. Perhaps there was a temporary overload of the system, for example, but it was finally processed as expected, and so there was a slight delay, but Clear Priority was able to automatically close the alert by itself, and so a risky situation has now disappeared. Of course, you can also have details on these same types of alerts about where those alerts are coming from and if they are happening regularly. For example, here we have the same origin, so it's quite likely that that order has a similar problem to the last one. So I was talking about views on the alerting produced. What is also interesting is that you can have customized views so that and put them into pages, so that here, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different pages. Those pages can be saved for later retrieval and organised according to what is really relevant to focus on for the end users. Here I would like to have a view that is targeted more towards the underlying subsystems, whereas here I want to have a view that is focused only on the order processing itself, which in this case is the main business concern. Also, the Clear Priority platform offers indicators that are values computed by the monitoring system. And here I have a graph showing me that the average processing duration of a specific subsystem is that amount of time, and I can see the set of values that have been calculated along my timeline. If I click on different indicators, the other graphs are then updated. I can show more interesting graphs that show specific areas of interest, such as here, where we are showing the length of time between two specific steps in the order processing workflow. We can see that on average we are something like 30 seconds, but we have some peaks increasing up to 90 to 100 seconds, and maybe even higher where we have something like 110. So we have thresholds that can be applied to these KXIs that trigger alerts. Another interesting graphical representation is the traffic lights. Here we have a traffic light with 3 indicators that are combined, and these traffic lights can be modified, for instance, to show what's important, and it works by summing together the values of various indicators. So the weakest one here is in orange, and these traffic lights might be configured to give us high-level indicators of the state of compliance, for example, of a given system or process, etc. Again, these indicators have views defined in pages which I can pre-configure and reload as required to give us some focused indicator pages. Also, we have many graph tags such that we can compare and overlay graphs, and for example here I want to compare the indicator on the left with the time it took to process the orders. So this gives me considerable flexibility in how I represent and view the situations I want to monitor. We also have in the Supervision console an event dashboard which allows us to retrieve and view a whole series of events that we have captured by the platform. For example, here I'm showing the events related to the mapping and loading of external data inside the order processing system. And I can see that there were many errors due to internet or systems failures that were causing us grief and failures that have detrimental impact, of course, on our business. In the case of the order processing system, we are most interested in monitoring the processing path of orders, and here we can see the several different states that each order passed through during that process. So let's focus on a specific order to show the drill down capacity and follow that order in more detail. So here I was selecting the order that was giving me the alert earlier on, and I can retrieve information on the various states that the order passed through and the times that these states occurred. Clear Priority is connected to data sources, and here we have several sources such as the order workflow data stream, and we can see the systems these are based on. And in case we get late events, we will be able to review them in that kind of screen. But a well-tuned system, by the way, doesn't have any late events. We also have the opportunity, although we don't see any here, to see information coming in that Clear Priority doesn't understand to be an event and therefore doesn't use. So we can make sure that whatever we are mapping is always being used and not missed. And that's the end of our demonstration.